Right now I'm about a week and a half into my Fight for Full challenge. This is a personal challenge that I've invited other people to participate in if they desire. But basically, I got inspired by 75 Hard. If you've heard of it, there's about 4 or 5 different things you do every single day for 75 straight days. That's how you complete 75 Hard. And it's supposed to transform you mentally, physically, and a lot of people across the world have seen lots of positive results from it. And I just was inspired by that idea of having a few daily disciplines to commit yourself to devote yourself to, and seeing the benefits and reaping the benefits of committing to something on a daily basis. Small things done daily compound to big results. And so I took that idea and I just tweaked what the daily disciplines were, and I wanted them to revolve around spiritual, relational, physical type of disciplines that I valued. So I created the Fight for Full challenge. And why did I call it that? Because in John 10:10 we see Jesus, he says that he wants to give us a full life, not just any life, but a full life. And so I wanted to fight for full. Anything that Satan, or I should say anything that God wants to give us, Satan wants to take away. So if God wants to give us a full life, Satan is trying to steal, kill, and destroy it. He's trying to take it away. So we must go to war. We must go to battle for the full life that God wants to give us. It's not going to just sit there, right? If we just let it sit there, Satan's going to take it away. We must go to battle and work hard for that full life. And so that's what I'm committing myself. I'm fighting for full. So if you'd like to participate, if you'd like to join me, the daily disciplines, the things I'm doing in this Fight for Full challenge, I am doing 10 minutes of prayer every day. I'm reading 3 chapters of my Bible. I am committing to 1 act of intentional love for my wife. If you're married, 1 act of intentional love. That can be doing the dishes. That can be sending a kind text message. That can be a couple minutes of quality time, right? An act of intentional love. 4th thing is 30 minutes of working out. And the 5th thing is doing it with a friend, right? Completing with a friend for accountability, for community. So those are the 5 things, right? Prayer, reading the Bible, an act of love towards your spouse, 30 minutes of working out, and then doing it with a friend. So those are the things that I think are valuable, and those are disciplines that I want in my own life. And so I've committed to doing them for the rest of the end of the year. So October, November, and December. And unlike 75 Hard, where you have to be perfect, I've given myself 5 grace days, because perfection is a great goal, but it's also sometimes unattainable and we get burned out by it. So there's a couple grace days built in. But that's what I'm currently working on. If you'd like to join me, please do. Let me know. I'll be praying for you. We're literally sitting on the other side, right behind us, is where Tom Hanks sat on the bench and said life is like a box of chocolates. So we're sitting like 5 feet behind where he was. We're in the square. That's the fountain that was in the shot. The monument.
And we have a bag of chocolates.
We're eating a bag of fancy chocolates. So life is like a bag of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. See, push.
Yes!
Reel it in. Pull it.
Daddy.
All right. You got to grip it right here. You see where Daddy's hand is? I'm excited to finally announce the next race or activity that I'm training for. I decided over the past month or two that I was ready to commit myself. After the second surgery, I really wanted to just build a solid foundation and a solid base. And over the past 6 months or so, I've started lifting weights. I've started, running and building up my cardio level. And I'm finally ready to commit myself to something new. And for a long time, guys, after or during these surgeries and during this recovery process, I was in a pit. Maybe you can relate, where you're just down, you're depressed, you're just not in the right headspace. And I started to believe some of the lies that the enemy was, bringing my way. One of those lies that was crushing me was just the idea that the future, right? Like the future wasn't as good as what I had already experienced. Put a better way, put a simpler way, that my best days were behind me. That was the lie that Satan was speaking, and that was the lie I was believing. I kept thinking about how, a year from now, 5 years from now, it wasn't going to be as good, right? And I just had to, to settle with the fact that life would never be the way it was. And that crushed me, right? At 29 years old at the time, thinking that your best days are behind you, that's just a sad reality. But I didn't want to stay that way. Right? I had been a warrior throughout the whole process, and I was committed to fighting, to the end here. And so I told myself that I was going to, in my mind, I was going to prove to myself and I was going to prove to Satan that my best days were still in front of me. In the past, I've completed some triathlons. So my first inclination was, I want to go complete another triathlon just to show myself I can still do it. So I got my bike, I got it tuned up because you swim, you bike, and you run with the triathlon. So I was getting ready. But just being a dad, it's hard to get time to go swim and bike, right? Like it takes a lot of time and effort and intentionality to go do those things. They're not easy to complete. It takes a lot of time away from the family. So I thought maybe I'll just commit to something with running. And oddly enough, I've been inspired by people like David Goggins, Nick Bare. They've done some ultra marathon running. And ultra marathons are where you run more than a marathon. Some people run 50 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles at a time without stopping. So I told myself I am going to dip my toe into the water with my first ultra marathon and do a 50 miler. So I'm happy, excited to announce that's what I'm training for. I'm going to do that sometime mid to late next year, is to complete a 50 miler. And this is going to be especially rewarding when I complete it because I've got a colostomy bag on me. And when you complete an ultra marathon, one of the biggest challenges is nutrition and hydration, because there's so many GI issues when you're running for that long, right? You're literally running for 10, 12, 24 hours without stopping. It's hard to stay hydrated. It's hard to keep food in your body. It starts to mess up your digestive system a little bit. So with me having a completely messed up digestive system anyway, I figured it's going to be even better when I complete it in spite of my issues. So that's my goal, is I'm training for a 50 miler, maybe something longer, but we're going to start with a 50 miler. And I want to document the process because people like Nick Bare have inspired me. People like Dean Karnazes, I'm butchering the last name, have inspired me with their book. And I want to inspire other people. I want to show you that your best days aren't behind you. And I want you to get up off the couch just like I got up off the couch and decided I'm going to go do the hard work. I'm going to endure the pain. I'm going to endure the process because my best days are still in front of me. And it might be uncomfortable. I might look like a fool at times. I might get dejected at times, but I'm going to press on anyway. I'm going to lean in, and I am going to chase the best days that are in front of me because God tells us He wants to give us a full life. But we have to get up, we have to fight for it, we have to engage in the battle. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to start training for a 50 miler. I'm already up to 11 to 12 miles. I'm going to be doing a marathon here in the next couple months, and then I'll ramp up my training at the start of January. So follow along for my ultramarathon training.